Hey y'all, it's your girl Alicia, and I'm here with my boy
B.
My boy Brian, and you guys, we are here with another reflections video.
Yeah.
So you guys, a while back, someone asked, how did we meet? And we have addressed this question a couple of times, but we wanted to do it again just to help and to show people that meeting online is really not that bad. It's really not that bad.
Because that's how we actually met.
Yeah.
And I think like we encounter people on an individual basis, and regardless of what they think about our relationship, whether they they see it as a positive thing or whatever the case may be, it is oftentimes asked like how did you guys meet? Mm-hmm. And so we just thought like it would be good to do a video, since we do videos, on how we met, and it's something we probably would enjoy talking about, and hopefully it's something you guys would enjoy hearing.
Yeah. So you guys, we met through Facebook Messenger, and I know that may sound like a little odd in a sense, and it was a little different for me because I normally do not reference or answer or even pay attention to people who DM me, because at first I kind of thought that was kind of like a juvenile way to meet people or you know what I'm saying, or to get a woman's attention. But only by the grace of God was it that I paid attention to this message, and the message was so, I don't know, it was so detailed, and he was so sincere in his message. Like, that's what came across, was that he was very sincere in the message. That I was just curious, so I responded to DM, and thank God I did.
Yeah, and I just reached out, and the thing I noticed that drew me to even reach out was how you were dressed. Mm-hmm. I didn't want anybody that was revealing or people who were looking for attention. Like your Facebook profile seemed like you were just really just like a cool person, not so much looking for attention or anything like that. So I looked at your profile and went onto your page, and I wanted to just see if you were married. I looked for a ring or something like that, because I don't deal with married people or whatever. Yeah. Just any indication that you're off limits, basically. And at that point, I decided, like, I think I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Couldn't tell, because at the time, I don't think anybody really knew.
Yeah, it was just nothing about your page that said you were in a relationship or just wasn't in a relationship.
Yeah. And in April, when you did message me, in April of 2019, like, nobody knew that I had divorce. Nobody knew, because I didn't erase my photos, I didn't change my name, I didn't do any of that, because I just kind of kept it private. But I was totally divorced,
but it wasn't nothing that said, and you were single at the time. It wasn't nothing that said, all right, you were in a relationship at that point. And so I think that's what I just kind of felt like, let me find out more about this particular person. And then I just kind of like. And then another thing is, I noticed, like, one thing it's a personal decision for me is to look at how the family is, because I know where I am. Like, some families, you can look at their pictures, the kids are just all over the place, the whole background, the scenery and everything out of control. And I could tell, I saw a couple of your videos, just like in happenstance. It wasn't like some investigation. And I could just tell immediately, like, your family was well structured, which is the case. And then, like, you the way you carry yourself is consistent with what I saw on Facebook. So, like, and I'm glad of that part. But ultimately, that's what made me think, like, this seems to be somebody, irregardless of what this person passes, because we all make good decisions and bad decisions in life. But this is somebody that seems to carry herself in a sense of integrity or something like that. But dating caused you to prove that. I figured that out. So that's kind of like how I ended up kind of like just inboxing you. But in inboxing you, my whole thing is to kind of like not just say something as a pickup line, but like talk about what it is that I see that actually is the case. Not like hey, what's up, and nothing like that, but like, just kind of like sharing my thoughts at the time of what I felt was appropriate and consistent with what I saw. In terms of like just reaching out, you know.
And everything that he said was just like, you seem to be, it seems that you could be a nice person. Seems that you are single, or are you single? He kind of, after saying
like inching
things,
in, like trying to figure it out what's going on. Then
he was like, are you single and blah blah, because I don't date married people or people who are in relationship situations.
But before that, I'm gonna say this. Hold that thought. I don't mean to cut you off. I had complimented her on one of her pictures before I inboxed her. You know, just inching in. I'm a guy. It's my job to reach out to whoever it is I want to date. Right. So there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But as long as I'm not trying to be, do anything ill will or in it. So I just complimented one of your pictures. Either you didn't see it, either you saw it and didn't care about the comment or whatever, or either it was just a comment. Either it was just a comment, and it was just cool. So you didn't respond, but I knew at that point, like, I was at least showing some interest and trying to inch my way into figuring you out.
It's so funny because when you did that, when you commented on that picture, and it was like, you look nice, and it's not about the outer beauty, but just, who
you look like real nice.
I can go back and reference these.
I'm gonna take it down.
These comments. Don't do that.
I'm gonna keep it up.
Don't do that. But I actually went and just started cruising his page because I was like,
because you did notice. You did admit. You said you noticed the and you were like I don't know this guy. I don't know. Yeah.
Because I was like, where is he from?
Because
I live in a small town. So it's like everybody knows everybody. So I'm like, where is this guy from? Why does he know everybody? And why is he friends with everybody on Facebook? Like, where did this guy come from? So I'm like just scrolling, trying to figure out where he came from.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at photos and I realized where he's from. He's from Compton. Like, it was almost like he structured his entire life from graduation of high school all the way up until this point of him living in Dallas. So it was like I already knew him before I even
and I had all your friends, and that all came about because I came out here. One of the reasons why I came out here, and it was I had gotten a job with Child Protective Services, and so in that process of not knowing anybody personally, I did run into people and build some type of professional network, and then outside of that, I helped somebody run for office, and then in the Longview area, I was just reaching out to random people as a part of just running for office, like I'm looking at people thinking like, if this person would be just stereotyping the bias mentality, would this be a person that would vote? So I reached out to probably and if you in Longview, I probably even reached out to be a friend only if I thought like you could be somebody that I could potentially reach out to kind of encourage you to vote for the particular person I was supporting. And so in doing that, I have a whole bunch of people from Longview as friends on my page, but none of them are really personal. They probably got something in the inbox saying vote for this particular person that was supporting.
And out front, like outright, I didn't know that because I was looking at
like all these friends like
who is this guy and how does he know everybody? So I'm sitting there and I'm investigating and I'm digging, and so it just seemed like on paper that he was just a super guy, like a good guy. So I was like, you know what? He seems, interesting. Didn't think anything else of it, because I was going through what I was going through. I had been going back and forth in my marriage from 2017 up until that point. And so, finally divorced. And I was like, I'm not getting into anything new. I wasn't thinking about it. So the idea of us, talking and dating, when he sent me that message, it never registered. I just wanted to know who he was. Like, where did this guy come from? So when he messaged me, I was like, it's that guy.
Yeah, I couldn't. I already left a message. I did all I knew to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna message
her. So when
he
DM'd me,
but I had some hesitation because I knew, like, I'm from a small. I'm out here, so there's no other way for me to meet people other than to use social media. But I did have some hesitation because I'm aware that I live in a society where it doesn't come across right if you inboxing, because you could be inboxing any and everybody. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, this is about the only way I'm gonna probably meet somebody to get to know them, not to try to just date them or run through them or whatever.
Random people, or everybody, or multiple people.
So that even caused me to hesitate, but but ultimately I had built up the courage to kind of just still send you a message like, hey, what I have to lose?
What's up? Like, why not? So I was like, it's that guy. And because I did the research and I was curious, like, where you came from, so now I'm like, I want to know who this guy is. So and then I read the message, and the message that he sent, it was so heartfelt and so genuine. I was like, okay. I thought that looking through his Facebook page that he was that way, or that you were that way. So when you sent the message and it came off that way, I was like, oh, okay. And so I responded to the message, and we just went back and forth. And it wasn't until September that he was like, well, no, in between messaging, we were messaging,
but we didn't message much from the time that we became friends on Facebook
till September,
because it was about September when we actually, like, we had messaged a little bit before, But then it was like I was able to kind of convince you to like let's talk to get to know each other. It was around like September last year, 2019.
So, so he was like, let's talk, like, because we were messaging, and then he was like, well, can I get your number after I don't know umpteen messages? He was like, can I get your number? So I was like, sure. So I gave him my number, and he texted me. He didn't call me. He texted me. So then we text for a while, and a couple of days of that, I don't know, maybe even weeks of that. I don't know, a week maybe. He was like, can I just call you?
Because I was already in a relationship where somebody, not relationship, I was already trying to build a relationship with a person that was like a texter.
Yeah, I'm doing like
so I was all burnt out, like just from texting.
Just can come across. You know,
you don't get the whole.
You perceive it, not like how they, sent it out. What they were thinking. It's your perception, so you don't know. You could get, a lot of mixed signals through text messaging.
Yeah,
so
but once I was feeling you, I was like, "Can we talk? I want to try something different." Because the last relationship, that's the primary means of how we communicated.
Yeah. We did a lot of communicating, and then so I said, "Yeah, you can call me." So I heard his voice for the first time, and I just
like, "Say hello, baby." This is my sexy voice.
It was sexy, but it wasn't. It wasn't no hello, baby.
Nah, I'm gonna be me.
This man does not play any games. Yeah. There are no lines, no pickup lines, no games, no. I'm trying to hook, line, and sink you. None of that. I never felt like that. Even from the first phone call, I did not feel like that. It was straight up, yo. This is who I am. These are my deal breakers. This is what I want out of life. This is what I want out of a relationship. He was just straightforward from the jump.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing.
Yeah.
And so in us, talking and communicating and just learning each other, we just grew. We just grew hard for each other. So, but from the point that he was like, let's message each other or let's talk, it like I said, it just blossomed. The whole thing just blossomed from that moment. So after the phone call, we talked for a while over the phone, a long while. We talked over the phone, and then I told him, did you say no? I told him it was time to meet. Like I wanted to meet him. Yeah. Or did you ask to meet?
I can't remember who initiated that conversation, but I know ultimately I ended up coming out here because I wanted to meet you.
Yeah, so I was like, I want to meet you.
You seem so cool in conversation. Yeah, and it was like,
and we had a lot of conversation, y'all. We would stay on the phone for 3 or 4 hours in the beginning, when we first started talking. So I was like, I want to meet you. Let's meet. And so I told him I wanted to meet him at church. So I was like, if you want to meet me, you'll meet me at church. I said one time. And I'm telling you, we spoke for hours, day in and day out. I would get off work, call him, and we'd be on the phone until almost bedtime or past bedtime. Sometimes just talking. So for us to have all that conversation going on, for me to say one time, if you want to meet me, you'll meet me at church. I told him the church and I told him the time. One time.
Well, I was genuinely interested in, like, all it took was one. I was waiting on the one because we had talked, and it wasn't even about pushing up on you. It was legitimately to a point to where it's like I saw or got an idea of what your substance was, and I'm like, she seems really cool. Like, regardless of what the past is, we'll learn each other and all that stuff, and we'll deal with that type of stuff because we were older. And so but I felt like in terms of your foundation, like, you seem to be really cool, and I was waiting for the opportunity to get to know you or get to kind of meet you, because you do learn a lot by meeting people that you just don't get on through a conversation. You don't get through text messaging. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I told him, like I said, to meet up with me, and we met up at church. He remembered. I told him the one time. He remembered. I didn't have to say it again. I didn't have to mention it. And I don't know, a week and a half went by.
Yeah.
And he showed up at church. And I was standing at the front of the church. I'm a door greeter, so I was standing there greeting everybody in. He walked in, and I was like, yo.
Yeah, I'm pretty tall.
I was blown away by how tall he was. We talked, and I saw him as, he told me he was 6'3", 6'4", so I saw him as a tall person in my mind, but I guess it just never registered with me.
Yeah.
So I felt so, I don't know, I felt small. Like, looking at him, I felt small, but instantly I felt protected. Like, I felt okay, like, instantly. From the moment that he walked in and he kind of stood over me and he was like, hey, and he gave me a hug, I instantly felt okay. Like everything was all right.
I whispered in her ear. I was like, oh, what I say? I was like, you real beautiful.
He whispered in my ear. He was like,
I can't help myself. I was in church and I was like, let me go sit down. Let me go sit my little tail down. Let me go sit down. Because I walked through and she's a door greeter. And I have nothing but respect for the church. The pastor even I was like my second time visiting there. Mm-hmm. And the pastor was even so just human or just so down to earth to where before I even got to meeting you, like we had a conversation on Facebook, and one of the things I mentioned in our conversation, like inboxing, was like, I can't believe a pastor with such a multitude of congregants, mm-hmm. like would even have this type of conversation with somebody you don't know. So I was already impressed with the church, and I didn't want to do nothing in meeting her at the church to violate that, because I knew it was a good soil ground like place to be, and I was like very particular.
That was even crazy too, because you were there that Sunday and we didn't see each other, and I'm a greeter. My
initial time before when I visited the first time. But that was my second time actually being at the church. Yeah. And the first time I visited, you didn't remember seeing me, or you just didn't even see me. Mm-mm. But that second time, I came through, and I guess I felt at home, because I was like,
he was like,
you are very attractive.
Whispered in my ear,
but I'm gonna go sit my tail down.
you like, you're gorgeous. And I was like, thank you. And you were like, let me go.
Because I showed up because I typically, as a person, I don't really get, I'm not into material things. And so, like she said, like my whole conversation and approach at my age, 43, is that I want you to just, like me for who I am. Nothing material. I mean, if I'll enhance it. I'll go out, I'll get dressed to do whatever, do whatever. But like, if I'm going to interact with you, I'm going to interact with you in the most authentic way, in conversation and in behavior and how I am, and whatever the case may be. And I'm hoping that in that process, if we were meant for each other, you would like who I am, be impressed by me as a person, by my spirit and my integrity, my morals, my values, and the things that make me who I am immaterially, and not be impressed with anything I can potentially have material wise, and that only enhances the relationship if you're able to bring that into a relationship. So it's a little madness to the method, but it's basically like I came to church like, just like I would, like I just got out and put a t-shirt on, like just only because I just wanted it to be an authentic approach. This is how I am, really. And when I saw her, she was so strikingly beautiful. The first thing that my first thought was like, man, I should have dressed up, did something to myself, because she ain't gonna like this. Like she gonna be like, this dude come with a t-shirt and jeans to church. But I mean, that's just how
it worked. I was so impressed, because this man did not come at me. I've never had a man come at me like that. It was they always came with their best foot forward, trying to impress, with the flowers, the suit and the tie. Not literally, but figuratively.
But I got you. Yeah.
It was
like putting material things in the forefront.
Yes.
When it should be the other way around.
Yeah, like the car freshly washed, and it's a brand new car. Look at my car. That type of situation. This man drove up in his regular car.
I mean,
with it was dirty. It was.
Okay.
I mean.
I thought I did wipe it down a little bit for you.
I don't know.
All right.
And it just was his self, and I so thank you for that, and I thank God for that, because I got to know who he is. I figured out who he was right off the top, and like I said, in that moment I felt protected. Like in that moment I was safe. I felt so safe, and people don't know my story, and it's not important to even put it out. But it's just being, feeling safe and feeling, like I'm okay and I will be okay was a number one for me. And God answered that right off the top.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, off the top. We've talked about that. Not like I say, maybe we'll do another video about, feeling safe in a relationship. But because it's so much packed into that, because I know about our conversations and things like that. But it is a place for us to talk about that, and whatnot.
And so we enjoyed church. Y'all, we sat there and he was all up. We were kind of hugging each other. He was all up on me before I knew it. I had rub my hand on his knee, and I'm like, and we,
let the Lord lead. Let the Lord lead. Let the Lord use you.
Good time.
Yeah, but it was just because it wasn't nothing inappropriate. It was just instantly we felt, because we probably just had authentic conversations, and it led up to it. It wasn't like we just went out and met each other over a couple of weeks. Like, it had been a little time. But I think if you're serious and not just looking to date or get involved in a relationship temporarily, if you're seriously, contemplating being in a serious relationship with somebody you think God has brought into your life, you should really put a lot of effort in just showing them like who you are immaterially, immaterially. And because I think that is the foundation and the substance that's going to be needed to sustain that relationship and get that relationship through tough and difficult times in the dating process.
That's right. So you guys, with all that being said, wrapping it up, that is how we met. We met through Facebook Messenger, and we went out on a date, went out to Olive Garden after church, and it was, smooth sailing ever since. Like, we have been together every weekend since that weekend.
Yeah, more than anything. I can say, whether marriage is involved, whether titles of boyfriend and girlfriend are involved, or whatever situation people can see or whatever we can communicate to help them understand where we are, I can say one thing emphatically is that I found the friend in Alesia. And that's the one thing, no matter whatever happens, and I know where we're headed, but even if that wasn't like the situation, I found the one thing that I always wanted was to feel like the person that I was growing closest to was legitimately a friend as a substratum of the relationship. So it's like, that's the one thing I can say I genuinely appreciate about how our relationship has developed, is that no matter what we do or how we talk or whatever things we engage ourselves in, everything has an element or has the strength of friendship behind it. And I think as long as we value that and wrap it around respect and being fair towards each other, there's no limits that we can't conquer. That's as long as we're realistic, we're not going to be perfect people.
That's right.
We're going to make decisions that'll upset each other, but as long as we're mature, and also include other people. This is a village, so include other people's thoughts into our relationship. This is the reason how it allows us to reach out to other people and let our relationship become so open, and to anybody that wants to. I doubt too many people would care to. They can, look at our relationship deeply. But part of what we want is to share in communication so that people can grow in their relationships, and it's things we can learn from each other.
Exactly. I think it's important that we come on and do these videos so that people can see a couple that is doing that, and maybe it'll merit and help other couples to come out of their shells and be open to, you don't have to make videos or anything like that, but just be open to discussing like how you got from point A to point B, because we all need help. Like, we all in this thing together. So yeah. So with that being said, you guys, we're going to end this video. That is how we met, and we are on to bigger and better things. We are just looking forward to the future. We're looking forward to what God's going to do for us and through us and to us, how God's going to blend our families, like, I'm just excited.
It's like a benediction. You like,
yeah, is it like a benediction?
Like, Lord.
Okay, but we really are going to pray.
Yeah, Lord, we ask you in the most serious way, in the deepest place of our heart, to come into our relationship and remain there.
Yes, Lord.
Protect us from each other and people around us, and grow us as individuals so that we can be not only good for each other, we can be good for people that's around us. Allow us to be so strong as a couple that we will grow our community, that we will be a representation of who you are in our imperfections and our perfections of life, in our good decisions and our bad decisions of life. People can see within us your spirit no matter what we're going through. We ask that you strengthen our relationship. We ask that you protect our relationship. You ask that you cover everybody that's around us that we have an influence on. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, you guys, we'll see you next time.
Peace.